Welcome to this explainer on the Domestic Work NCII Assessment Reviewer. We're about to completely shift how you look at household management. We're going to elevate domestic work from just a basic list of chores to a rigorous, standardized discipline. Seriously, we're unpacking a professional framework that's rooted entirely in science, safety, and maximum efficiency. Let's dive in.
To kick things off, consider this. A well-kept home is made of small, repeated habits done the same careful way every time. This is a really powerful self-check line from our source material, and it totally sets the philosophical tone for everything we're about to cover. You see, professional domestic work isn't about aimless scrubbing or just throwing things in a pan. It's entirely about mastering the meticulous method behind every single habit.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be decoding 5 core TESDA competency areas: the professional mindset, strategic household cleaning, fabric care and laundry, meal preparation and kitchen safety, and finally, emergency response and readiness.
Let's start with Section 1, the professional mindset, communication and safety. Before you even think about touching a broom or heating up a pan, a certified domestic worker absolutely must internalize core values like honesty, confidentiality, and clear communication. In fact, during the oral assessment, assessors will actually role-play employer scenarios just to listen for your tone. Think about it. If asked to do something unsafe, an amateur might just stay completely silent or awkwardly go along with it. But a pro politely refuses the unsafe task, saying something like, "I'd like to do this safely. Could I use a different step stool?" That exact phrasing and confidence, that's exactly what separates a total novice from a certified professional.
And this professionalism naturally extends right into general safety and hygiene. Obviously, using cleaning agents correctly and reporting hazards are foundational, but personal hygiene, it's just as critical. Showing up with a clean uniform, fresh breath, and trimmed nails is an absolute, non-negotiable prerequisite before the real work even begins. No exceptions.
Moving on to Section 2, strategic household cleaning, the science of the chore.
Let's shift our focus to the hidden logic, the exact why behind every single professional cleaning standard. When it comes to cleaning, understanding the exact purpose behind your agents is vital. If you just guess how a product works in a new home, you could literally permanently damage their surfaces. So, detergents remove physical dirt and grime. Disinfectants actually kill microorganisms. Glass cleaners give you that perfect streak-free finish. Degreasers cut right through kitchen oil. And sanitizers reduce germs to safe levels. The crucial point here is that a professional never guesses. Oh, and to avoid cross-contamination, they always color-code their cleaning cloths. That way, there's zero chance of accidentally spreading bathroom germs onto kitchen countertops.
These standards build into some highly specific routines, like the traditional single-bed setup. The why behind these steps is actually fascinating, like why use envelope folds or mitered corners? Well, that tight tuck keeps the bottom sheet from working loose overnight. And why put the second sheet wrong side up? Because when it's folded back over the blanket later, the right side ends up facing the sleeper. Plus, setting the blanket exactly 6 inches down from the edge leaves the perfect amount of room for a clean fold. Honestly, it's basically structural engineering for a bed.
But check this out. Even if you execute all of that perfectly, you could still fail on one tiny detail. The pillow opening must always face away from the door. Why? Because a visible pillowcase opening instantly reads as unfinished and messy to an assessor, even on an otherwise flawless bed. It's a tiny detail, but it has a massive impact.
And this brilliantly illustrates how every single task is broken down into a science, right down to hand washing. Wetting your hands first helps the soap spread evenly. You have to intentionally clean your fingernails because trapped dirt doesn't just come off from palm rubbing alone. And finally, you have to dry completely because wet hands transfer germs way more easily than dry ones. Every step has a scientific purpose.
All right, Section 3, fabric care and laundry, the precise science of threads.
Moving right into fabric care. Look, guessing water temperatures or ironing heat is a fast track to ruining expensive garments and instantly failing your assessment. Just notice the stark contrast between durable cottons, which can totally take a hot wash and a high iron, and delicate silks or wools, which require a cold wash and a low iron, often even needing a pressing cloth so you avoid direct heat. The golden rule, checking the manufacturer's care label is literally the only way a true professional determines a fabric's actual tolerance.
Now, when it comes to stains, the rule is incredibly strict. Blot, don't rub. Treat it immediately, identify the type, and test a hidden area first. The biggest difference between an amateur and a pro is that an amateur aggressively rubs a stain, which just pushes it deeper into the fibers. A pro gently blots. A pro also uses chemistry. opting for cold water to lift a coffee stain, but reaching for a degreasing agent to break down oil.
Next up is the ironing sequence, which is all about systematic efficiency. For shirts, you always iron the delicate parts first, like the collars and cuffs, while the iron is at its best, most consistent temperature. And for pants, you iron the entire inside-out phase first, the pockets and inner linings, before you even think about flipping them right side out. If you try to do both sides at once, that's exactly how you end up with crooked creases.
Let's jump to Section 4, Meal Preparation and Kitchen Safety.
We're going to pick up the pace a bit here, because in the kitchen, meal prep is judged heavily on safety, workflow, and really strict time management. You must read the entire recipe first, wash your hands, prep all your ingredients before the cooking even starts, and, most importantly, clean as you go. Cleaning as you go actively prevents workspace clutter, and clutter is the #1 cause of dangerous cross-contamination. You definitely don't want raw meat or seafood accidentally touching a cutting board you're about to use for fresh vegetables.
Conquering the assessment menu requires some high-level time management secrets. For example, if you have to make 4 kinds of soup, you batch boil the stock for all 4 at once. That saves massive amounts of time. You also absolutely must chill the desserts, like the fruit salad and almond jelly first. If you don't sequence them early, they simply won't set in time. And here's a pro tip: never pour the sweet and sour sauce over the fried fish until the exact moment of plating. Otherwise, that perfectly crispy fish just turns into a soggy disaster.
This brings us to a super specific culinary detail, the why of the whisk. When making egg drop soup, you must stir the soup in one direction while slowly drizzling the beaten egg. That's exactly what forms those beautiful, thin egg ribbons. Stirring randomly or stopping completely, that just creates unappetizing clumps. It perfectly illustrates how specific techniques dictated by the reviewer directly control the final presentation and texture of the dish.
Finally, Section 5, Emergency Response and Readiness.
Let's take a breath and drop the pace for our final section. This is absolutely the most serious and high-stakes element of the entire framework, because we're dealing with worst-case scenarios where lives are literally on the line. I want you to ask yourself this critical question. What would you actually do if a fire breaks out or someone is severely injured in the home? During the oral assessment, assessors will look you in the eye and test your immediate verbal reactions to these sudden, life-or-death situations.
Basic first aid heavily emphasizes the vital why behind emergency response. You must stay calm, ensure safety before acting, seek assistance, and report the incident immediately. But why ensure safety first? Well, because rushing into a live electrical situation or an uncontained fire scene without ensuring your own safety first doesn't help anyone. It just creates a second victim for the first responders to deal with.
Knowing your specific emergency responses is absolutely crucial. If someone falls and you suspect a neck or back injury, do not move them. Moving them can cause permanent spinal damage. For an electrical accident, touching the victim before turning off the power will just transfer the deadly shock directly to you. You have to always cut the power first.
All of this culminates in the oral questioning drill. This final stage is where the assessor checks if you actually understand the science of safety. For instance, simply stating that you shouldn't leave an iron unattended is okay, but explaining that unattended irons are a leading cause of household fires? That proves that you truly understand the why behind the rule. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. How will you apply this rigorous science of the chore to elevate the standards in your own daily life? Mastering these methods goes so far beyond just passing an assessment. It elevates a vital profession and can fundamentally transform how we all manage, protect, and respect the spaces we call home. Keep these concepts in mind and take this meticulous mindset into everything you do.